Welcome, welcome, glad you're here with me. Did you know you're one with God for eternity? Welcome, welcome, glad you're here with me. You're not a stranger anymore, now you're family. We'll sing 2 more times through. Welcome, welcome, I'm glad you're here with me. Did you know you're one with God for eternity? Welcome, welcome, glad you're here with me. You're not a stranger anymore, now you're family. One more time. Welcome, welcome, glad you're here with me. Did you know you're one with God for eternity? Welcome, welcome, glad you're here with me. You're not a stranger anymore, now you're family, 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 family. Say good morning to your fellow neighbors, shaking hand, how you doing, what is up? How is your
And how was my favorite prayer chapter? How are you doing? Wonderful. Good morning, baby.
Weave us together in unity and love. Weave us together in love.
Okay, be seated, everybody. I don't know whether this thing is working or whether my voice is working. I do know my voice is working. So, welcome on a long weekend for some people. Glad you all had a chance to stop in here for our brief service. And I'll just keep it brief by going on to the next part. Let us do our opening statement. You can come forward and there you go. There is only one presence and one power in my life and the universe, God. I like to let that sink in a little bit. A representation for me of our God within, some people say, our Christ within is our candle. And we like to have it going throughout. I would say that if we thought it was safe, we'd have it going eternally, but we have to take care and not have another accident. So we make sure we get it started before you all come in, so you know that we are in the light. And it told us, representative to that. Let's turn to our vision statement. Centered in God, we inspire spiritual transformation, creating a world of love, peace, and prosperity. We are an inclusive spiritual community, inspiring, awakening, and serving in love. Now again, let's be sure that we are, as individuals, all here. By that I mean, let us remember the child that is within us, along with the rest of us, and take a moment to honor the child within everyone. Let's say the children's blessing. We love you,
We bless you.
and
We behold the Christ in you. We accept you just the way you are. Walk in beauty. You are divine. If you could stand up, we're going to sing a song. We're not going to sing the ones in the program. Just I had to wing it last minute this morning, 9 o'clock. So we're going to sing Heaven Guide Me, but the words are up on the screen. So if you could stand and join me, that'd be great. Heaven guide me, heaven show me the way, heaven guide me, heaven show me the way, when I'm lost and confused, heaven lead the way, when I'm reaching for you, will you meet me halfway? Heaven guide me, heaven show me the way, heaven guide me, heaven show me the way, when I'm lost and confused, heaven lead the way, when I'm reaching for you, will you meet me halfway? Heaven guide me, heaven show me the way, heaven guide me, heaven show me the way, when I'm lost and confused, heaven lead the way, when I'm reaching for you, will you meet me halfway? Heaven guide me, heaven show me the way, heaven guide me, heaven show me the way. Thank you, have a seat.
may we have the prayer chaplain bring the prayer box forward.
And let us move our minds to that still, silent place within. And may we lift up into that Christ consciousness and hold in the light all the prayers that are in this prayer box and all the prayers that are written in our hearts. We know that they will be prayed over here within our congregation. And then it will travel to silent unity, where they will be held for 30 more days and prayed and held into the light. We are thankful for the fulfillment to the greatest good of all. And it is with this gratitude that we say thank you, and so it is. Amen.
Now, David, would you give us the word?
Today's big word is faith. I express my faith with every choice I make today. My every choice, no matter how small, expresses my faith in something at that time. These moment-by-moment choices create my life experience, so it would be impossible to live without faith. The great news is that I can change my focus whenever I choose. I am not a victim of the events and challenges in my life. When I pause for a moment to remember the truth of infinite love, I am at peace. I take time today and every day to observe the life I am living. It is a perfect expression of the faith I am holding. Faith allows me to see peace in the midst of conflict, to find abundance where there once seemed lack, and to love all others rather than judge. Today's daily word comes from James 1:6. But ask in faith, never doubting, for the one who doubts is like a wave of the sea, driven and tossed by the wind.
Take a couple more deep breaths and go even deeper as we prepare ourselves to pray the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. And give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. Amen.
And even deeper. Completely letting go. With each breath in, I am inspired. Breathing in. With each exhalation, I am letting go. I let go of that which no longer serves me. I let it go with love. I let it go saying thank you. Whatever that situation or that thought or that belief, you served me in the moment. And now I let you go. I am inspired. As I am inspired, I breathe in that which feeds that light that is within me. Visualize the candle. And as you breathe in, that oxygen brightens and brightens and brightens that light. The candle is always there. The light is always there. But as we open and allow our consciousness to focus on that, it grows till it radiates out through our skin. It radiates out as we breathe. It radiates out and it touches each person in this room. See that light. See the light that we are magnifying. And see it expanding out. See it expanding out into our community. Anybody who is in that place of openness and prayer, we connect with their light. See it reaching out throughout our globe. Touching those who are in this moment connected. Now take another deep breath in and let us reach out to all. For all have this light. And let us use our awareness to see that light wherever people are. Whether they're in fear or anger, whether in despair. Yes, we touch that light. We touch it as this divine power surrounding the globe. and then see it radiating out throughout the universe. And as we connect in all of those lights, become aware of the light within us, continuing to grow. Breathe in. Go deep. Allow yourself to move into that silence. In the silence, with that divine peace, love, and joy. In the silence. Gently bring yourself to the edge of this silence and opening your heart. Any concerns that you have, personal concerns, concerns with family, loved ones, larger concerns of what may be going on in our community or our world. We open to that divine energy which we have immersed ourselves in. We just hold these situations in this light. We allow healing that needs to be healed. We let go of our expectation of what that looks like. You say thank you to that divine intelligence, to that energy of the universe, to that which we in shorthand call God. We say thank you. And we are here, we are willing to be your hands here and now. We are willing to be your arms and your feet and your eyes and your voice. We are inspired. We are energized. We are the light. And for this, and as we grow in our awareness, we say thank you, God, and so it is. Amen. We are the light. Yeah. You know that? You know this Christ-like, just knowing that. So today I'm talking about clarity. So the first clarity, and that kind of came up in that first song, you know, the idea of being clear and what we're all about, and the clarity of what does it mean to have this light, to know this light, to know who we are. So here's a couple of quotes that kind of spoke to me. It is by studying little things that we attain the great art of having as little misery as possible and as much happiness as possible. So by paying attention to the little things, we let go of the misery and we increase the happiness. So the little things, having clarity on what that means. What are the little things? And here's another one. People pay for what they do, and still more for what they have allowed themselves to become. And they pay for it very simply by the lives that they lead. So no matter what we're doing, we are paying. We're paying in energy, we're paying in attention, and we look around our lives and say, oh, what am I paying for? You know? And then I get to make some other choices. So this idea of clarity of understanding what our values are, clarity of understanding how that leads us to action, clarity of knowing what, so I went looking, okay, so values encompasses principles, morals, ethics, philosophy, becoming aware within ourselves what those things are. You know, one of the things that is really important, how does the divine communicate with you? Are you clear on what does that mean when I know that's God speaking to me? Now, for me, it is definitely not speaking. For me, and you'll be hearing this, and you hear it a lot in other ways that I speak, it comes from feeling. And I know the difference between a God message, because usually God messages, I'm going, really? That's what you want me to do? And when it's a God message, and usually it's something pretty big, all of my major moves have come through God messages. Okay, so if this is what I'm supposed to do, show me the next step. You know, and I might say the next step is, I need to know where I'm going to live. It may be, I need to know that there's going to be a job available, and then I watch how things come into place. Now, I do a lot of things. I'm preparing to do something. God is not telling me to move into an RV with my daughter and son-in-law. However, since that's my joy and my desire, I open to that support. I am clear. This is what I am wanting to do, and I need all the help I can get. Thank you, Spirit. So you begin listening. What are the messages here? So think about what speaks to you, and it may be, I've had people tell me very clearly, they hear words. Other people may see pictures. You know, think about what it is. So having a clarity and understanding of how you are communicating with that divine essence. And it doesn't have to be, when I say it's a feeling, so yes, there's a very clear feelings. One move that I had when I would go, I don't want to move, I don't want to leave here. I get a stomach ache whenever I say I don't want to. I mean, literally a stomach ache. Now, not all of them are like that. You know, it can be, and I'm going to tell you some stories that have been happening, but just that really gentle understanding, yes, you're in the right place at the right time, doing what needs to be done by you. So clarity of that voice. You know, clarity of why I'm on this spiritual journey. What does this mean that I'm on a spiritual journey? What am I wanting to grow, to shift, to change in my life? And begin to, you know, have some real understanding of what that is all about. Because then I'll say, what classes am I going to go to? What books am I going to read? What groups am I going to join? We think about that. What is my spiritual journey all about? And I connect that back up to my values. So one of my values you were hearing last year, I got involved in the Faith in Action Alabama. And I was very active in that for about a year. Okay, the first thing you need to know about me, and probably you all understand this, I'm a visionary. I do things like this, but I don't take action in specific ways. I don't go down to Montgomery. I don't go calling on the mayor. And it has nothing to do with whether I think that's important. I think it's incredibly important. However, I don't do those things. I'm working, you know, with my friend Peter Joprion's campaign, and I had to really struggle to find something that I was willing to do. I was not willing to sit on the telephone. I am not willing to spend hours writing postcards. I am not willing to go door to door. I went in his office here a few weeks ago to pick up a sign to put in my yard, and guess what? They needed somebody to sit behind that desk. Well, I'm totally willing to do that. I'm good at that. I know how to do that kind of thing. So to get clear, what actions are we willing to take so that when we do that, we're not doing it out of a sense of, well, I oughta, I shoulda, kind of process. So getting clear on that process. So one of my values, and I've been thinking about this a lot because it sounds very penny ante in many ways, but one of my values is comfort. I operate from being in a place of comfort, and when I'm uncomfortable, and you go, well, isn't that pretty shallow? Well, as I got thinking about it, because that was the first thing, I'm going to stand up there and tell everybody, I tell people all the time anyway, and they'll say, well, Carol, that's the reason why you don't do enough, But I got thinking way back when I had that experience that I told you about when I was 4 and a half, and I was told that anybody who wasn't a Catholic was going to burn in hell forever, and I was the only Catholic, me and my mom were the only Catholics in the family I knew, and I thought, this can't be right. God's not going to burn my grandma in hell. I couldn't do that. And I got realizing that was a place of profound discomfort. It brought up fear. No, God can't do that. God's better than I am. I'm 4 years old. I couldn't do that. And I'd be, oh, okay. So this idea for me of comfort comes at a very profound level. So you begin thinking about, okay, where do I operate from? So the idea of unity, one of the things that spoke to me most clearly when I got involved in unity back in 1979 was, I don't ever have to tell somebody else they're wrong. I can say, oh, that's not for me, I'm totally willing for you to share, as long as you're not trying to convince me, I'm totally willing. But I'm uncomfortable telling somebody else that they're wrong, that their way of believing is not right because it's different from my way of believing. It's been a really interesting week for me as I really got in touch with what that means to be comfortable. I'm comfortable owning my own house. I've only rented when it's just not been possible for me to be in an area. I moved around quite a bit for a few years, and so renting, but my comfort level is to own my own house. Well, I guess I'm getting over that, aren't I? I'm going to sell my house and move into my daughter's RV, But to know that, I'm comfortable having opportunity money. I used to consider it an emergency fund, and one of the prosperity teachers says, don't call it an emergency fund, don't call it rainy day fund, don't do any of those kinds of things. So it's my opportunity fund. So I'm comfortable having, and it's grown over the years, what level I feel comfortable with. Now here's a prosperity thing out there. So every once in a while something will come up, and the majority of it will go out for some reason or the other. And I'm looking at this and going, okay, Spirit, we need to fill this up because it's cash. It's not money, it's in the bank. It's cash that, so when things come up, I've got it. And I don't know how you're going to fill this up, but it doesn't happen like the next day or whatever. But over a few weeks, it begins to build up again. So knowing where my comfort level is and asking for that help to bring me to that place. My son and I just had this conversation a few weeks ago, and he was saying his wife didn't understand when he was buying 2 more packages of pasta to have on the shelf. We already have a package of pasta. Why do you need 2 more? He said, I tried to explain to her that in my home, there's always food for a few weeks. It's not a feeling of shortage, it's, but you spend a lot of time living in Florida, hurricanes happen, You don't want to have to be running out to all those people that are getting their milk and bread and toilet paper. You want to know that it's there on the shelf. So that's my comfort level. Again, something that's happened to shift. I'm having to move this stuff out, And you know what? When you live in an RV, you don't go to Sam's and buy 24 rolls of toilet paper at a time. There's no place to put it. So you begin to realize over time what I'm comfortable with shifts, and I have to pay attention to that and what is happening in that process. The other thing is, and this is really profound for me, I'm a physical klutz. You know, I just ain't. Having that trust in that which is greater than me when I'm out driving or I'm doing something that physical coordination is important in. That is so important to know that I have that which, you know, I've had, you know, different times when it is absolutely proved, you know, something happened, something dangerous, I didn't even have time to think, and I did exactly what needed to be done in that moment, you know, so knowing where your source is and having that trust. So a lot of people will tell me I'm brave and I take risks. Honey, I'm not brave, and I've never taken a risk in my life. Trust me. But the reason why it looks risky out there, because people could look at me and say, well, she doesn't have the capability of doing all that. I know where I have my trust, and I know no matter what happens, that resource is there for me. And I know when bad things happen, that resource is there for me, and it doesn't keep bad things from happening. I've been mugged, I've been raped. And in that process, I was okay, and I knew it in the moment that I was okay. And the one situation, if I hadn't known in the moment that I was okay, I probably would have ended up dead. Because I would have struggled and I would have screamed. And that would have been the end of that. No, I was okay. And that was the one and only time I've ever heard a voice. The voice said, it's okay, don't be afraid. And it was like a light switch going on. You know, so pay attention to your experiences. Know where your trust is. Be really clear on what that is. Pay attention to the things that have happened in the past and the things that are happening as they are happening. So moving a little bit onto the mundane, and I like to be very practical. So if you've been reading the newsletters, you're going to have heard some of this. So in getting my house ready to sell, I had somebody come and power wash the house and clean the deck and do all these kinds of things. And one of the things that became apparent as I was preparing the deck to be power washed, and I haven't, you know, I've talked a lot over the years about my deck and how much I love it and how much time I spend out there, and I haven't been out there very much. And I was cleaning all this stuff off the deck. And in between times, you know, I'd be sitting in my little chair that looks out on the deck, and I thought, you know, there was too much clutter on there. There was way too much clutter, and it wasn't comfortable to be out there. And then as all the stuff got off and was out on the grass, I realized this deck really needs power washing. It's a good thing this person is coming to do this, because there was mildew and it was stained, and I thought, no wonder. So looking, and I got thinking, when I looked at that, I thought, this is feeling very metaphysical. Because the other thing then that I noticed, and I went, okay, there's 3 damaged boards here. Why are they damaged? They are damaged because I put a carpet, an indoor-outdoor carpet there. Carpet was fine. Weather didn't hurt it. It was fine. But the carpet covered over things that didn't get air and light, and therefore rotted. So can you see where this is going when you think about the practicality of looking at your own life and say, what are the lessons that I am learning here? So I'm getting all of this stuff ready and everything cleared off, and the power washer person is supposed to be there, and she calls and she's going to be late. So that was good for me. I still wasn't done doing this, but then she was a little bit later than what she had said. And I got thinking, okay, now I'm on this metaphysical trend, you know, okay, what is all this about? You know, we do our work, we do our cleaning, and then nothing happens. You know, and you're sitting there going, what? What is all this? You know, and then things begin to move again, so that we let go of our expectation that things happen instantly. No, we do our work because our work needs to be done. We do the cleaning because the cleaning needs to be done. Whatever is going on in our life may not shift as quickly as we would like it to. But the work that we were doing was very productive simply because it needed to be doing. Now when she did show up, she brought somebody with her. And I thought, oh, okay, because she's a fairly small woman, and one of the things she was going to do was clean the gutters. So she brought somebody, a tall somebody, that could more easily be up on the roof and do the kinds of things that cleaning gutters. And again, you know, I'm on this metaphysical roll. How many times do we have things that need to be done, things that need to be cleaned, and we don't ask for the help? We don't go out and either ask personally out there for help, or we don't go in here and say, because when we go in here, quite often the voice will say, well, ask that person out there. Well, that's what else had happened to me. So now everything is all cleaned up, and here's these 3 boards, you know, they need to be fixed. And so I talked to the young woman who was did the power washing, and she said, well, she thought she knew somebody, and she'd tell them to give me a call. And but a couple of days later, you know, I'm thinking, you know, that's going to be another few $100s. I mean, it's not a big job, but anybody that's going to come and bring their tools and all this kind of stuff. And I thought, do I know anybody? Well, at the same time, I had a small project of some small shelves, glass shelves being replaced with wood shelves, and I knew just the perfect person to ask, and I knew that person would really enjoy doing those small shelves. But I had no idea whether that person would be interested in doing the boards on the deck. But I thought, well, the only thing you can say is no. And so when I called him to ask him about the shelves, I also said, you know, I've got some boards need to be replaced. He says, well, I'll come out and take a look. Well, the bottom line was this person that I know came out, fixed those boards, did my shelves. And the other thing, so we're talking prosperity, and one of the reasons I hesitate is because this person will not accept money for what he does. Therefore, and he's done some pretty nice things for me. The very first thing was I was going on a trip to Turkey, and I didn't have anything but little point and shoot cameras. Well, he had an extra really nice electronic camera, and he gave it to me. You know, it's probably a several $100 camera back at that point in time, and so I was thinking, you know, what can I do to say thank you? Well, I found out he likes single malt scotch. A few weeks after we got back from the trip for Turkey, I made sure I gave him a bottle of scotch. And I've done that. I found out what his favorite one was, and I've done that a couple of times. And so this time I thought, well, you know, I've got a cabinet out there that I think that maybe he might like, but I'm not going to gift him with it without asking. So I said, you know, Mike, come on down here and take a look at this and see what you think about this little cabinet. It's the library card cabinet, and he has his own shop, and you know, it's got all those little drawers. To make a long story short, he fell in love with it. And he said, but Carol, you're selling your stuff, and you could sell this and get quite a few bucks. And I said, well, yeah, I could. But it cost me quite a few bucks to have somebody come out here and do that too. You know, so he's going to take that. So another thing, I'm letting it go. I'm feeling good about it because it's something I really enjoyed. But it is time for it to go on. But it's going to somebody I know that will enjoy it. So you begin to pay attention. What is going on in my life? How am I seeing these things follow through? You know, how often do we go in and ask Spirit for help? And again, the other day I was talking to somebody, and she gets very serious about her prayer process, and so, you know, she goes in and you know, takes real time. And I think, you know, what do I do? What do I do? I go, okay, Spirit, I got myself into this. Please get me out of it. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And sometimes I go to the bargain place. Now, I'm careful with the bargain, so I got myself into it, and quite often that will be something, I've got myself into a dangerous place driving, like on a mountain, and all of a sudden it's snowing or icing. Okay, God, I know you're going to get me out of this, and I promise I'll pay more attention next time, or I'll try. You know, to say this prayer practice, yes, there are times you really want to go into that place and be very intentional. But Spirit is as close as, help me, or as, thank you. You know, to know that, to get clear on where that process is. You know, and then this whole power washing thing continued on for another week as I got out my little power washer, and because, you know, when you clean something big, what happens? Things shift. Other messes come up. And Oprah's, the Current magazine has an article in there about how people changed their perspective, how they went, changed their perspective, and there were some pretty heavy-duty ones. So one was, you know, a young woman realizing that her preacher father was not the person who showed up at the table. You know, it was, you know. Another one was a young woman who went from adamant pro-life to pro-choice, from personal experience. You know, somebody else was talking about making the decision whether they would ever get married or not. You know, there's so many choices. How do you change? How do you shift? We've all heard people who are adamantly anti-gay and then find out that their child, or even more powerful, the grandchild was, and go 180 degrees from their previous viewpoint. Well, what happens when you make those big shifts? What happens in your relationships around to, whether it's at work, whether it's your family, what happens in how you lead your life? There's all the little cleanup stuff that you have to do. So again, you keep that process of clarity going. But I call those big things, those are power washing kinds of things. But then, so my little power washer, it also kicked up its own fair amount of dirt. So then I had to go just to the hose and just gently run things down. So I thought, that's what we have to be thinking about in our lives. Yes, I blasted away this. Oh, okay, how do I deal with what's going on? And again, remembering, where are our resources? How do we do that? So we think about, what are the prayer groups I belong to? I belong to a prayer group now for 10 years. It began in 2008, so 10 years. And we talk occasionally about how important it is, this relationship that we built. It's safe, and sometimes one of us will show up and we're not in a good place. We're not in a pretty place. And know that it's safe. So to have that group of people, others, a prayer partner that you've had for many years, or you start a new connection, and that prayer partner, you may not even call it a prayer partner, but it may be somebody that you're connected with, and you can call this person, they trust you, you trust them. You begin to think about, what are my resources here? Think about the classes that we come to. So our Sunday morning class, so yes, we have the book that we study. Well, honey, it takes us a long time to get through those books, because we sit there and we will talk. People will share, okay, this is what's going on with me. How does this relate to what I am learning, what I want to learn? Our Wednesday night class this last several weeks has been on meditation. And so people have come, so we're not teaching people, here's how to meditate, and this is what you're going to do, and follow these directions. Every week we've had a different experience. And so just last Wednesday we had Dan Nairn from the Art of Living came, and he talked about breathing and gave us a couple of techniques of breathing and how that works. The week before we went out and walked the labyrinth out at the Mental Health Center. And one of the other weeks we had somebody from Transcendental Meditation. So people are beginning to have a variety of experiences around it. So you think, what are my resources here? How can we do this? And so pay attention, what works for me, and who are the experts that I need to talk about. And an expert might not be somebody with degrees, but it might be somebody you look out there and go, that person's been through that. I bet if I talk to him or to her, they can help me in this process. And if they can't personally, I bet you they know somebody who can. So you begin to look at that. So one of our resources that we have is our spiritual book. So as the Bible is our textbook. We use lots of others, but sometimes there's things that are really clear and really comfortable that come from what we're used to. So I thought I'd close by reading the 23rd Psalm. So it's very clear in its picture, and it's very comforting in its idea. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. The shepherd makes me lie down in green pastures, and the shepherd leads me beside the still waters. My soul is restored. I am led in the right paths for his name's sake. Even though I walk through the darkest valley, I fear no evil. For you, my shepherd, are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My cup overflows. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord my whole life. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, we're going to continue with the service. We'll stand up and sing another song. Spirit Awaken in Me. And it's the words will be up here. There we go. All right. Change key on a lot of this. I'm still not better with my voice. But I do have yet another ENT appointment tomorrow, Tuesday. So keep your fingers crossed that you'll have an answer. All right, here we go. Spirit waken in me, fill this vessel with light. Let me be your hands, your heart, your